Hello, I'm Tom Wall, the Deputy Editor of the Environmental Health News. Today I'm interviewing Stephen Battersby, the President of the CIEH, about the future of environmental health in uncertain political and economic times. First of all, I'd like to ask you about the squeeze on council funding. Do you think it's going to impact adversely on the public health work of EHPs?
It clearly will have implications for public health, and certainly the local government will be under increased pressure. On the other hand, I think that for environmental health practitioners this is also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to demonstrate actually that they are fundamental to local government and to local well-being. There's always an upside to every downside, I guess, and I think it's going to be extremely difficult. But I think if EHPs assert themselves, actually demonstrate their worth to the local community, then actually they can do, if you like, a lot of good at the present time, because there will be a lot of hardship as well.
A general election is due to take place this year, and the Conservatives are riding high in the polls. Are you concerned about any area of Conservative policy? In particular, are you concerned about David Cameron's proposals to review health and safety legislation?
I do have concerns about some of their plans because they clearly have not been terribly well thought out. And certainly most of the announcements on review of health and safety legislation sort of was based on urban myths. I have no real problem with some of their line of reasoning if they use sound evidence. And certainly I see no reason why we shouldn't be thinking in terms of smarter regulation. But I think sometimes their thinking so far anyway has been a little woolly.
We were experiencing the coldest winter in 30 years. Are you expecting the level of excess winter deaths to be particularly high?
Well, we know they increased last winter, which was certainly not as hard as this winter, so I'd be very surprised if we don't have a further increase in excess winter deaths. We have to recognise that we have, over 2 million homes in the private sector in this country which have a category 1 hazard for excess cold. So it almost goes without saying, sadly, that we will have more people dying because of cold homes.
Could the local government do more to address this problem?
I think that a lot of local authorities are doing a great deal, but a lot could do a lot more. I think it's one of these things, it isn't easy. It's much easier to deal with an estate of social housing and improve the thermal efficiency. It's much more difficult to identify all these individual private sector homes, and certainly those in the private rented sector are the most difficult to reach. But it is possible. We know that the energy retailers actually have a lot of money that they can make available. It's a matter of actually getting the referrals and directing that money to the cold homes. So local authorities have actually really got to think, and EHPs particularly, have got to think carefully about who they can work with and make the best use of the resources in order to tackle cold homes.
So you're saying the resources are there?
Without doubt there are a lot of resources there in different agencies, and that's the problem. It's not necessarily in local government. The energy retailers are there, so I know they are desperate actually to be seen as a little more responsible than perhaps people see them, because they have funds they're required to by the government, but it's actually getting those funds to the people most in need, and that's where local authorities can come in.